welcome once again to Good News Covington County. And boy, do I have some good news today. We got food, talking about the community, talking about history, talking about one of the most beautiful pieces of land in the area in Covington County in South Alabama, Blue Lake. With us this morning, or this afternoon, or whichever time you're watching us, is Phyllis Murray. She's the Executive Director of the Blue Lake Lodge. Welcome to WKNI.
Thank you so much.
And we're proud to have you on. And I met you over at Bricks Hardware. You were out putting up the cookbooks. And they're not just cookbooks.
That's right.
Tell us a little about the book itself.
Well, when we just celebrated a little over 60 years at Blue Lake, and I wanted to put out something that would honor not only the cooking, because we've been famous for our cooking, for our food for a lot of years, but also a lot of just the history of the place and our relationship to the community. So it's called Sweet Tea and Toast, Tastes, Tales, and Traditions of Blue Lake. So there's stories about Blue Lake and the people who have come there over the years, how it got built. There's stories about the relationship we have with Covington County and particularly with Andalusia. There's stories from a lot of the local families who have relationships to the camp. And then there's just some fun things in there. There's a little piece by Ed Danley, who used to be the editor of the paper here. There's a story about a military plane that crashed into the lake one day.
Really?
There's all kinds of fun stories. So for people that don't cook, there's also something interesting to look at. There's wonderful stories about the forest that people that live here may not know so much about the Conecuh Forest, but Rhett Johnson, local author, wrote a nice story for us. So there's a lot of great things in there that make really good gifts for people that have lived in this area and maybe even come to Blue Lake over the years. A lot of people in this area have worked there as lifeguards or cooks or counselors, different things. So it's a little something for everybody in it.
I'll tell you, it's a beautiful book, well made, and it's got beautiful pictures in it as well. And the stories, I'm just beginning. Teresa heard cookbook, and I'm going to go look, and she just went in there.
Yeah.
So, she held it from me.
Well, we have some of the recipes that go back to the 60s. The book is actually dedicated to all the people who've led our food service over the years, the many women who've been in charge of making sure that piece of hospitality was important and done well. So we've got some Blue Lake classics, some of our dinner roll recipes that everybody loves so much, and then there's a lot of new things too that we've added as food service has changed over the years.
Well, it's beautiful out there. I told you when I first talked to you the first time is when I was a member of the American Red Cross disaster team, when we had Hurricane Ivan, we utilized Blue Lake Lodge through the Red Cross to have our volunteers stay there. And that was my first acquaintance with it, and then I've been out there a few other times. But it is a beautiful facility. It's a godly place. God had his hand in it when he put Blue Lake out there.
Yeah, it is a beautiful place around the lake. We share the lake with the National Forest, and it is a special place. We honor children, youth, and adults there. We host religious education and nonprofit groups. So a lot of different people. It is owned by the Methodist Church, but it's open to a lot of different people.
So it's not just Methodists that can come out there?
No, not at all, not at all. In fact, it's one of the best outreaches the Methodist Church has, because we do reach out to other churches, nonprofit groups in the community. We host a lot of inner city programs for kids from Mobile or Pensacola or Montgomery. We just do we do some family reunions. Just last weekend we had a family, and this was their 58th year to come on Thanksgiving weekend to Blue Lake. So the memories that family has and the traditions they have related to the camp are so important.
They could write a book.
They might, they might. But it's just an amazing place that has a lot of things to offer, and we're very blessed to be in this community because this community has supported us tremendously. So we're excited about that.
You got lodging out there. You've got complete kitchen facilities. I mean, you could feed an army out there, basically. I mean, the way the kitchen facilities.
We have 525 beds, and so we can accommodate large groups of people or lots of smaller groups. We have a large gym. We can seat 1,500 for the gym. We have, we are around the 40-acre lake that's so beautiful, and we've got about 300 acres in the forest. So there's just lots of opportunities for different kinds of activities. And during the summer, we do a lot of programs, lots of different kinds of activities, and we host a lot of adult retreats during the other parts of the year with scrapbookers and quilters and choirs and just groups that'll come for leadership training, just all different kinds of things. So
I've heard retreats going on out there, Christian retreats, and I've heard the family reunions. I've heard churches going out there and having a weekend just to get away, and it's great for the children. There's canoeing, there's all sorts of things out there for the kids as well.
yeah, yeah.
And the adults too.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of different opportunities. We help with programming. We have a wonderful staff that helps create things if people are looking for us to do part of the programming for them. We work with different health groups. I think you featured not long ago the Extreme Experience Vision
Yes,
Camp.
that turned out very successful.
This was our 4th year, and we more than doubled this year. We do a camp for physically and mentally impaired adults. We do a camp for local coaches and their families. There's just all different kinds of things that can be done, and we're always looking for new partnerships, so we're excited
So
about
would you take Coach Sabian out there?
He has not made it for that camp. He seems to be a little busy, but a lot of the other local coaches
He needs a
never
second
will
or
come.
two to catch up.
He might.
I'm going to get beat up. But anyway, the Iron Bowl was won by 1 second, so I'm picking on Alabama. But anyway, let's get back to Blue Lake Lodge before I end up full of crimson. But the lake itself, it's a fishing recreational lake. There's, I understand you have to have the same requirements, fishing licenses and things like that, permits to go out there. It's not just come on out and you waive all that, but you have to be legal because the game warden can come out there anytime.
Yeah, now the public side of the lake is open during the summer. I don't believe it's open this time of the year, but there is a public beach at Blue Lake also, and we're good neighbors. We like to
I was going to say
honor
that,
them.
I was going to ask, that was my next question, is there,
Yeah.
I know there's public access out there. and
There is.
The general
It's
public can
closed
come
this
out.
time of the year, but
Right.
there is during the spring and summer.
How about the Methodist side? Is it closed or is it open year round?
No, we're open year-round, and we host groups pretty much 12 months out of the year, so.
Wow. I got to come back out there again. It is just
We'd love to have
absolutely
you.
fabulous. I remember coming out of the one of the lodging dorms is what I called it.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked down to the lake, and there's a chapel on one side, and I was like, this, I just want to be out here at night. And I was, and it was just so peaceful, so back into nature. You just want to stay. You don't want to leave. So I guess you're out there all the time.
That's one of the things that we hope people experience, because even people who live in a small town or a small city don't ever really get out into nature a lot, or at least kids don't always have that opportunity. And people come and they say, I just didn't have time. I didn't think I had time to be here this weekend. And by the end of the weekend, they go, I can't believe I almost didn't come. I needed this.
Wow.
We all need to go out and get back into that rhythm.
Right.
That slower rhythm that allows us perspective. And
Gives you a breath
it's
of fresh
beautiful.
air, literally, breath of fresh
does,
air.
it does.
Now, what's the smallest groups and largest groups? I mean, you said you can do up to,
Well, we have a lot of meetings that take place, groups that have meetings that might be 6 to 12. So, we're really open to work with people. We have the flexibility to do different kinds of things. So we just ask people to contact us and let us see if we can't help them out with different things. We have some businesses that have their leadership meetings and things there.
Oh, wow.
We have schools that bring their kids there or their staff there. We have churches that do staff retreats there. We've had the local Andalusia brought their yearbook staff out to do some work. So I think anytime you need to get away and have a focus and not have all the cell phones and different things going off and just need a place where you can come
cell phones
together.
don't work well out there.
They do not, and that's a blessing.
It
we
is,
believe.
it is.
We believe it is, that it's a time when you can really focus on what you're there for. And so it's a very special place, and yet we're really close. We're only about 12 miles south of Andalusia, so we're on the way to the beach cities. So
It's a
people
pretty
can get
drive
It
on the way
is.
out
It
there.
is.
But as soon as you hang that left on 137
Yeah.
and get about 2 miles up the road, you might as well turn your cell phone off and save your battery, because you ain't getting it until you get to Florida. And but that is a neat thing though that you're talking about, as far as being able to not have that kind of you do have phones out there for emergency purposes
sure.
and contact.
And there is some cell phone service, just not a lot.
Yeah, and satellite service and.
Yeah.
But what let's say a group of, how do you charge, or what's rates or whatever?
Well, we have 3 different camps around the lakes. We have Pinewood, which was the first camp that was built, and Dogwood, and then Oakwood. Pinewood is an area where they have cabins and a big dining room and gym. Each of our campsites has a gym and all the different facilities, waterfronts. Dogwood is more of a large group dormitory style rooms, and each
That's
one of
what
those
I saw,
cabins
yeah.
has their own kitchen in it, so they can do their own food service
Right.
there. Oakwood is more of a motel, hotel style facility, with some areas have private baths and some are group camping areas. So it really depends on where they want to stay, what other facilities they want, if they want us to do programming, how many meals they want, what kind of meals they want. We're pretty flexible. So we just, like I say, we really encourage people to call us and let us help work out a custom program for them based on what we have.
Well, you said hotel motel type setup, and you got my attention now, because if somebody, Teresa and I, want to come out for the weekend, is that possible? Or?
We're not set up to do individuals like that. We are a group camp,
A
and
group
that has to
camp.
do with the way our
That's why I was curious about it, because
yeah, our business license is set up.
right. Well, who's going to know if I come out there? I ain't going to tell nobody. Yeah, I will.
I will tell you, we have a wonderful little guest house called the Hospitality House that we do make available to people.
Oh, really?
It was built, and it actually was an old house that lifeguards used to live in, I understand, years ago. But we remodeled it. It's a beautiful little, really a one-person retreat center that we make available to clergy. But if there's nobody staying in it, we do make that available to people in the area who are looking for
Wow.
just a chance to get away and have some peace and quiet. So we have a lot of folks that come and take advantage of that.
I'll dial your number here later.
Okay, we would love to have you come.
But, well, we want to come out. We want to come out and get some pictures and videotape and have you come back on and share
Right.
some more. If you have events going on out there, please let the people
We
know
will
that
let
they're
you know.
welcome to come on here and share those events.
Great.
I can't get over how that worked so well with those folks this past, what was it, last month, with the event with the blind
Extreme
people.
Experience Retreat,
Oh,
yeah.
boy, am I going to get it. Rachel's going to pop me in the nose. Visually challenged people.
Visually impaired.
Visually impaired. See, I'm going to get it. She sits over there and Eddie, we're visually impaired. We're not blind. And I'm like, so anyway, but y'all had a successful.
And they are not challenged at all.
No, they're not.
Only by more things to do and more places to go.
They get out here well, I don't know if you saw the video or not, but they put me in a blindfold and gave me a walking stick. And I tried to navigate around the square. And I'm here to tell you, okay, I didn't do very well.
You know, I don't know that people, and I know this isn't about that group, but I don't know that people in this community realize what an amazing group of people we have in that Covington County Blind and Low Vision Outreach.
Absolutely.
They are leaders in their field, and they are out in front doing all the special things.
Well, we had Wanda, Dirk, and Rachel on, and with their partners, their service dogs, and Dirk was sitting there bragging about going out fishing on his pontoon boat. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'll captain it for you anytime. He goes, oh, I take care of it myself.
Yeah, he had the pontoon boat down there this
Yeah.
year for the camp, and it went, you know, he sets the GPS and it goes all around the camp. And we're working on, our goal is to be able to do a camp for children who are sight impaired. That'll
Wow.
be staffed
Wouldn't that
by
be awesome?
adults who are sight impaired. Because I think so often children don't see adults that are living the life they live. And to know that, you know, you look at those people, Wanda, Dirk, and Rachel, and there's nothing that they can't do.
And there isn't, excuse me, the walk around, well, they've been here many, many times since all this has gone on. But, you know, the GPS thing was fascinating. Then they were talking about they brought in a lock, okay, a little padlock. And I was like, okay, yeah, how's that going to work? And they can dial it in. He handed me a handheld GPS when I was out here doing the square, and it would tell me that I was 10 feet from the road, you know, and all this stuff. They have all the technology available, and you know, Dirk made a very good comment out here several times. He says he just doesn't understand why people don't take advantage of it that need it.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing with Blue Lake Lodge. We've got a great asset.
And so many other things in life.
Yeah.
Part of it's admitting that we need something.
Yeah.
And with so many groups. That's been a group that I've had a pleasure to work with. I had some experience working with a visually impaired group when I lived out west, and so when I came here and met that group, it was a perfect fit. And we've got long visions.
Yeah.
But there's just so many other people. We have lives are changed in those kinds of events, not just Blue Lake, but all across the country in the beautiful camp and retreat centers that there are. Lives are changed because people come apart to a different place with a different rhythm and a different spirit. And it might be a religious camp. It might just be a place and time that you just get away to stop and reflect. But nature nurtures us.
It does.
And we need to. In this part of the country, we are so blessed to have it, and we need to take advantage of it.
I get involved with Miracle League out here with the special needs children, and I love it. I get out there and I get just excited as the kids do. They're having a ball out there. They would be wonderful for something like this out there. And I might be yelling at them here soon to see if we can't plan something next year for them during the spring or summer, because these kids, we've got the special needs children. There's over 600 special needs children in this community.
Right.
Only 30 of them are involved in the Miracle League. Mom, Dad, don't keep them home. Let them come on out. Let them enjoy things, and especially places like Blue Lake. It's a chance of a lifetime. I was watching a video on Facebook today where a young man was with Down syndrome was on a high school football team, but they let him do the Gatorade and all that. For the 4 years that he was at the high school, that's what he did. Well, this year he graduated. He was in 12th grade. They let him dress out in pads. They let him dress out in the uniform, and he played the last play of the game, and they handed him the football, and it was so neat to see the opposing team pretending to, they got involved, they, did the blocks, but the boy made a touchdown. And that young man, you could just see the energy just boiling off him. He was all excited. And it's a tearjerker, okay? Yeah. And there's a lot of those opportunities here in this community. We have one of the most givinest, loving communities that I've ever seen in my life. In Covington County and the surrounding area, the people here want to give. They really do. They want to be a part of it.
With children particularly, a lot of kids have challenges that we don't see.
Right.
And just giving them a place where they can have a loving community. And that's what we do at camp. That's our goal at camp, is to create an environment that is the way we ought to live every day, where people are respected, where everybody has a chance, where you're loved regardless, where you get to play regardless. And that's not to take away from people's gifts and talents, but just to say, here's a place where everybody is included. And everybody gets to, there's a wonderful writing out called Everything I Need to Know I Learned at Camp. And it talks about, what if everybody had 3 meals a day and 2 snacks? What if everybody went to bed every night at 9 o'clock? And what if we had a campfire?
I'm laughing, but that sounds like utopia to me.
It does. And, I tell people, one of my things about camping, and I've been in it for about 22 years, that I love is that a campfire around the lake with singing and stories is exactly the same experience for my grandchildren as it was for me.
Wow.
And for my grandparents. It's the same fire, it's the same sky, it's the same lake maybe. It's the same experience, and there's so few things today that the kids do that is exactly the way I did it. They don't study the same, they don't communicate the same, they don't travel the same. This is the same, and that goes back into ancient days. The campfire at a lake with your friends and stories and songs is the same. And so that's amazing. And when people say to me, kids don't have any imagination anymore, I just say, please come to camp for a day. Just come spend a day at camp and watch what the kids can do, because they are amazing.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, like veterans, PTSD veterans need to come on. Their families, we've got a lot of veterans that have been to Afghanistan and Iraq. I might just try to get something together on that.
Great.
And try to get the veterans to come out there and spend a weekend and have a wonderful time with their families, because that's something that they can get away from everything, and they can go out there and enjoy themselves and relax and like you say, it's a lifetime memory, that can be shared over and over and over again, and it can
Right.
be passed down. And what you do for the child today, he can do for his children down the road.
We have every summer we have a grandparents camp where grandparents can come with their grandchildren and no parents are allowed. But that's part of it is that the kids can come and the grandparents have a chance to really bond with them in a different way and maybe share a little bit about what life was like
Right.
for us and then share. Here's perhaps where I slept when I came to Blue Lake as a child. Here's where we went fishing. Here's where we hiked. You know,
Wow.
here's the bunk bed I
The
slept in
memories.
60 years ago. And, you know, those are just opportunities to share and bond in different ways than maybe you would at home or maybe you would on a sports field or different things. But for people that don't believe that the kids today have amazing gifts and talents and imagination, I just encourage them to get involved with something like camp or something else because our kids today are outrageously talented and gifted and they are
And they're being
abundantly blessed.
deprived of a lot of these
Yeah.
opportunities. And it's
Yeah.
not that people are being mean, it's just they don't have time for it.
You know, there's an interesting, in the camping world, we pay a lot of attention to statistics about children. And when I was growing up, the area of play or the parameter of play for a child was a mile in any direction from their home. That was where we were considered safe, within a mile. In today's world, kids are considered safe less than 500 feet from their home.
Yep.
So we've shrunk the world down. There's a great book out called Last Child in the Woods.
That's good.
About the fact that we may be raising a generation of nature deficient children that they don't ever get out to hear, and yet we all know how important the rhythm of nature is to all of us. If you get out into the area we live in, and the forest and the rivers and the skies, and we're aware of that, but a lot of kids aren't. So all that's real important.
You know, a lot of it's under false things too, that we restrict our children and get back into that 500-foot, range. I was out here for Halloween on the square this year, and people were talking about, oh yeah, they started this years ago because of all the tainted candy and all the poison and the razor blades and the pins. If you look it up, do you know how many cases of that there were? None. It was all folklore. And I mean, there was, people that did, but there was no child that ate razor blades. There was no child that ate, needles and stuff. Somebody may have pulled a prank on a kid, but a lot of that was not true. And we get into those things of, well, if you let your child out, what could happen? And there are a lot of what could happen. So I'm not saying there's not sexual
Absolutely.
predators out there. I'm not saying there are people. See, here's what you got me going on something totally. But
I'm sorry, I think.
No. We need to get away from the computer world. We need to take away the smartphones because they're not so smart. They make us dumb. And the children sitting in there, more children are abused through the internet than they are outside their yard. I mean, they're exposed to the entire world out there. We need to get them away and go out to Blue Lake. We need to spend a weekend and take them out to Blue Lake.
Well, we need balance.
Exactly.
but
That's a good
there's,
point.
I use technology every day in my
Oh,
life. The ways that we can use technology, even at camp, the things the kids can go research, the things they can look up, the things that they can pull together, that all takes advantage of the wonderful technology.
Right.
But we can't forget where we came from, and we can't forget what's around us. And part of what we do is try to help kids understand the importance of nature so that they'll want to preserve it. We
Right.
can't ask them to preserve something they don't know anything about. And our generations have got to look at what we've done and are we preserving those things and how we live. So now at Blue Lake we recycle, we work on, we don't use paper plates and plastic silverware and things. We wash dishes and we do laundry and all those kinds of things because we know that that's important for the kind of place we want to live.
We're going to have you on more and more and more, okay? Your phone number is not going to get lost, but we want you to come on and share what's going on out there with the
Great.
schedules of going, what's happening. Now, Sweet Tea and Toast, Taste, Tales, Traditions of Blue Lake Camp. This is the book. I know you got them at Brooks Hardware. Where else?
Brooks Hardware, Dave's Catfish, Harold's, Furniture, the First United Methodist Church, and Ainsley's Place will have them before too long. Or they can come by Blue Lake during our office hours. It's
The
100
picture on
pages.
here on the front is just, I want to make that my profile picture on Facebook. That is so
There are
beautiful.
two beautifully lighted crosses, one at each end of the lake.
Yes.
And those are the two icons that people remember the most after they
I was going to bring
Those are
that up.
very important
Yep,
to a
that-
lot of people.
I remember that cross out there when I looked out and it glowed off the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, folks, I'm telling you, if you haven't, if you're from here, I know you've been to Blue Lake, okay? But if you haven't been, you have missed out. And if she's got places out there for little groups and things and families, get up with her and take a break. Get away from this craziness out here. Y'all work hard all week long, and there's places to go and things to do other than in the house, on a computer, or going elsewhere and doing things. You remember, go to church too. But you also have that there as well.
Very much.
And how do we get up with you?
Well, you can call Blue Lake.
What's that number?
222-5407.
222-5407.
And you can check bluelakecamp.com. That's our website, and that's going to be undergoing some transition in the next month, so getting it upgraded and ready for a really busy season. You can drop by the Methodist Church. There's people over there who usually know what's going on.
They won't throw this Baptist out.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Greg Gambrill, who used to be the DA here, used to.
Know Greg.
Yeah.
Know Greg, yeah.
And he used to tell me, you can come on in the Methodist. Well, we got a special place for you in the back.
Well, we pride ourselves at Blue Lake on our hospitality, and
Well-
so we welcome everyone, and it's not our place. We just get to be in charge of hosting people there.
Well, God gave y'all a great ministry out there, and
Thank you.
y'all are doing a great job with
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much for coming
been
on
my
and sharing
pleasure.
this with us. Folks, don't forget, and these proceeds go to Blue Lake.
They do. The $10 from every book goes to our campership fund.
Okay.
And that allows us to help kids and youth and adults that need to come to camp, and we think everybody does need to. If they need a little extra financial help, it helps with that.
Well, I'm going to get with you when we get done here, but I want to talk to you about setting up something with the veterans, what I need to do
Okay.
with that.
Great.
And also with the special needs children.
Fantastic.
And see what we can do here at WKNI to make that a reality at Blue Lake. I'd love to see a weekend with the special needs children out there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen it on TV or not, but when those kids get out there and play baseball at Miracle League, my gosh. I mean, you want to get out there and root with them. But thank you again. I'm going to
pleasure.
rattle off here and just keep on going. The book is well worth it. Teresa's given her seal of approval, right, Teresa? And she says there's some great stuff in there. I'm going to go through and read the stories because I want to learn all I can about this community because we have a wonderful community. We've got some great people here today. We've had some wonderful people in the past, and the builders and shakers of this community as well. And I'm proud to be part of this community, as is WKNI, to have ladies like this come in here and share what we have available to us here in the community. Thanks again.
My pleasure.
God bless you. Folks, remember, keep it real. Keep God in it. God loves you. God bless you. We'll see you tonight at 5:30.